Hey guys, Will here, welcome back to the channel. Now today's video we're back in an MX5 again because we're going to be showing you how to install these awesome gauge cluster faceplates from Jass Performance. So Jass Performance very kindly supplied these to me to make a how-to video, and you can see they've customized it also with the Boosted Autos logo as well, which is a really cool, nice little touch there. So we'll jump in, we'll show you how to install it. So we start off by just undoing the 3 screws that are securing the bottom part of the steering column plate in place. Unclip the whole thing, it just sort of slides out pretty easily. You just got to kind of work it over the keyhole. Then remove the top cover as well, that just slides straight off the top. And then we remove the cluster display hood. So that just pulls forward. It does require quite a bit of force, but it comes off relatively easily. And you can see here where the clip locations are. So don't pull upwards, just pull straight towards you and it should come off pretty easily. Then you just need to undo the screws that are securing the cluster itself in place, which is really simple to do. So with the screws undone, you can now pull the cluster out to reveal the 3 connectors that you'll need to unplug to release the cluster completely from the car. So these are all keyed individually. There's no risk of plugging them back in the wrong spot. All you need to do is just push the little tab down on the top, slide the connectors out, and it is as simple as that. That releases the cluster completely from the car, and you can take it inside to install your parts. Morning light will be the key. Sun will rise again. So remove the clear plastic cover. The method for doing this is exactly the same as removing the black plastic shroud here. So you can see I'm just pushing on the little tabs here, kind of releasing them so they're nice and loose, and then the whole thing will just lift off as one piece. So the plastic clear cover and the plastic bezel here are both exactly the same method. You just release those little clips, the whole thing lifts off very easily. So be very careful when you lift the bezel off that you don't do any damage to your reset button. Just lift it straight up and off. And then we're going to want to have a look at the registration marks for the 2 needles, the speedometer and odometer. So lift the needles up and over the little plastic tabs. Have a look at where they rest, and you might see different gauges have different registration points. So just take a note of those before you pop the needles off. So the needles come off very easily with just a plastic trim removal tool. Just pop them straight up, lift them off again very carefully, and they just pull straight out like so. Then we need to undo the 2 little screws which are securing the back panel in place. So just release those. Now they might come straight out. You might have a problem like we did where they're actually stuck to the plastic shroud themselves, in which case just lift it out, flip it over, and you can just push the screws out from the back. It does require a little bit of force. They just pop out, then put everything back together, put your metal cover over, and replace the screws again. Simple as that. Now you don't need to do these screws up tight, just hand tight. Don't over crank them because it is a plastic thread and you will strip the thread. So just tight enough to hold everything securely, and then you can pop your needle back in place. So again, paying close attention to exactly where it was registered before, so you've got it in exactly the same place. Now if you do get it wrong or you do lose your registration mark, you can go back and check it with a GPS to make sure your speedo is correct. But as long as you get it back in exactly the same spot, you shouldn't have any problems. So push it down, and then bend the little needle back up over the plastic tab and check to make sure everything's working as it did before and the needle spins freely. So as soon as you're happy that the needle's spinning freely and not catching on anything, you can move over to your tachometer and do exactly the same thing again. So release the needle, undo the 2 screws, pop the screws out, place it back in place again and install the metal backing. Reinstall your screws. Again, just finger tight, doesn't need to be tight, don't strip your threads. So reinstall your needle again, paying close attention to that registration mark. Now different clusters will have different registration marks, so just make sure you mark it or make sure that you're happy with it, you know exactly where it's meant to go. Put everything back together again, make sure the needle spins freely, and you're good to move on to the next section. So now we've installed a bunch of double-sided tape around the surround so we can stick down the backing plate. It's really thin double-sided tape. It wasn't actually supplied with any. I actually went to a automotive store and bought some of this, but just get the strongest double-sided tape you can that's really thin. You don't want to have thick stuff here. Push it all down in place, very, very simple. And then we're just cleaning the surface to make sure that it doesn't have any nasty fingerprints or smudges left behind when we put everything back together. Same deal again with the needle caps, just install some double-sided tape, peel the backing tape off. I usually just use the edge of a screwdriver to lift it up. Be very, very careful with your fuel gauge that you don't knock it out of position, because if you do, you won't know how much fuel you have in your tank. But very, very simple again, just peel those backings off, stick the needle caps on, give them a good clean, and you're good to reinstall the clear cover, and it's as simple as that. So reinstall back in the car, exact reverse process of what we did before. Reinstall the connectors, put all the screws back in to secure the cluster to the dash. Pop the hood back into place. Reinstall the covers. Pop the 3 screws back in and you're done. Alright, so that is it. Really, really simple to install. No real dramas there at all, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So check out Jass Performance. I'll put the link in the description below for you to check out their range of products. They got some really, really nice stuff, and thank you once again to them for supplying these awesome ones. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button so you don't miss the next one. Still got a bunch of MX5 videos to come with the rest of the wrapping videos as well, so check those out. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.